Hey, muy buenas noches, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. And as always, do allow me to start off by thanking everybody for your guys' words, prayers, and your amazing support. Se los agradezco mucho. I appreciate every one of you. Well, to get into the story at hand, today I wanted to touch on a situation that it was a big pozole, right? To say the least. But overall it had to do with a freshly made Billy from Sangho. You know, he wasn't a youngster, but nevertheless, he was recently made when all this occurred, right? And how basically politics work, if you want to call it that, right? When you're inside and how the chess pieces are being moved. You know, for first off, let me just give you a little backtrack on the one that had just been made, right? Now they call him Sleepy from Barrio Sombras, and he was an older cat, right? Well, at least he had me by about I don't know, maybe 10 balas when I met him in Quilmas. This was in the end of '97, right? And homeboy, he was there with he was dogging it tough with Primo from East LA and his own homeboy Flaco from Barrio Sombras, or and as you guys know my story, it was actually the first mission I ever pulled in the system, at least, right? It was from one of their homeboys, right? But anyways, again, he was an older vato, and he had been around, busted here and there, and nevertheless, when it comes to backtrack history, when it comes to Northern Califa Sureños, San Jose has the town where I'm from for years, right? They've been out there before us. So again, he was older, and anyways, we were in Quilmas, and they always had the little crew, right? Abatos that like to have their hands in the mix of things. And then anyways, we parted ways, and we're talking about years later, right? We're already up in Pelican. I was in Pelican Bay Shoe already. And through the grapevine, right? We started hearing of the camarada that had been made. He had been given the opportunity by the Ayala brothers and other individuals that at the time they had a lot of say so. Like Fonsi, and which that was the main one, right? Because Sleepy he was under Fonsi for a long time, and Jesus raised his hand, and you know and as time was going by up there in the bay, it just happened that you know you want to say Fonzie was utilizing me to get things to the street, because again I had a lot of homegirls, right, that stood tough with me and that knew their wiggles up in Northern California, and so you could say I was in the known of a lot of things, right? But again, I was just doing the favor, kind of like a three-way, and basically, I was the dummy putting everything out in case something ricocheted. It would have to. I was the buffer in between, right? But anyways, at this time there was a lot of headaches or a lot of questioning when it came to them in Northern California for different aspects, right? For one, when it came to Fast Freddy, he was in the shell due to what they lost in Mexico. that people always talk about the reasons on why, right? Fast Freddy hit a brick wall and why Rube turned on them, and but I don't hear none of them really talk about the facts of things, right? But I'll just leave it for another day, right? But I'll just leave it like this. It had to do with the loss and the money already being in someone else's hands, and the loss was on them, right? So of course, Feria talks when it comes to this individual, so he got put on the shelf. So nevertheless, homeboy Sleepy, his whole familia, they're norteños, right? Sisters, carnal, XX, he was the only one that was a homie. Nevertheless, he was able to push through and climb up there where he wanted to be, right? So again, when he got blessed in, he got given a lot of that open territory, if you want to call it that, which was towards Hayward, Richmond, Santa Cruz, them areas, and of course, some of San Jose, because by this time he's not the only Billy from the town, right? And anyways, as there was other members that of course they were back and forth when it came to being put on the shelf. For example, the Moreno brothers, because there's a lot of politicking when it came to them having avenues where it wasn't look good doing, right? Which was with the Norteño Raza, you know, which in reality it should not make no sense, right? It should not matter for the fact that at the end of the day they're coming and they're buying and ain't like you're helping them sell it on the calles or whatever they do with it after they pay for it is their business, right? Business is business and pleasure should never go hand in hand, right? But anyways, that was the agenda being pushed. So just to inform you, one day I got requested to make sure I send the Namapil out, but to make sure that letter by letter, word by word, I wrote it in the different letters, right? Without getting too much into detail and fast forward it and make sure it touch base with homeboy out there, right? And so of course, as I'm writing this down and direct it where it needs to go, you could call me chismoso or whatever, but I gotta read it, right? So in this one, basically, homeboy from San Jose, Mafia Fonsi, if it's a possibility, right, to utilize his carnalas, brothers, and to spread the income coming in when it came to moving Halle, right? Because at this time they still have some plugs when it came to La Familia, right? Because the laws, well, it had to do with a deal that was. Well, again, I will touch on that. Anyways, it wasn't a loss to the Familia, so there were still avenues there. What wasn't there was Feria, right? So the advice from Fonsi was, hell yeah. And then this Amapili stating how he's utilizing indios in casinos and, norteños, bulldogs, and as long as he stays out of the mix when it comes to having carnales speak about him a lot, everything should be feedmas, right? But, at least the way I seen it is the camarada should have known better, right? Well, the Pili now, right? For example, like I stated, he was older and he's been in the game a lot longer than I have, and he should know that when it comes to appealing, they utilize other members or camaradas most of all to throw as a front, as a pawn to get taken out, to put that blanket, the security blanket in between him and his downfall. And by him requesting this, of course, he was opening that door or that safety net in case Fonzie ever needed it. Again, it was being utilized not just by them, but from Chuco, Guerra, the ones that I knew that were Junior from the city that were moving in the area, right? And another Pili from Modesto, but as you guys know, well, he went out backwards, right? So there's no point. But I could touch on how he was utilizing Happy from Modesto to touch base with different norteños, and it got to the point where eventually norteños did what it was meant to be happen, right? It was a contrario with the bag, so let's clip them, which they did, and well, anyways, this I know because I was in Beca Ranza with Happy. I have talked to you guys about him. He had gotten shot, so he had a real bad limp, but he was a fool, right? But anyways, it's a different story again. I disculpen. I do want to make sense of everything for you guys, so I know I lose track. I disculpen, man. But anyways, this went on, and Sleepy started doing his little web, right? Working with camaradas in his town, and again with the area camaradas, and so eventually he had a big crew without counting that extra income that his carnala's brother, cousins, whatever were bringing in from the side, right? And that was his money, right? So he was coming up. You see the problem uprise when Boom Moreno, he seen the writing on the wall, and he seen Fox, he seen Fast Freddy, he seen they were pressing on Chino from San Diego, and that the Ayalas wanted a piece of that, so they were pressing tough on it, right? They wouldn't let it go. So what does he do? He uses that safety net that he has on Fonzie, so he tries to direct that anger, right? If you want to call it that, and towards Fonzie, and it's como espejito, espejito, and it just keeps circulating, right? So Fonzie starts politicking against Sleepy, his mentor, if you want to call it. That guy that he said was ready to become a carnal, right? And now he was meando fuera la cazuela, and being greedy to the point where he was getting extra funds that was keeping from the organization for himself, utilizing his family that were norteños, right? However they moved it, I don't know, and it ain't my business to even speak about it, right? Norteño things, you guys know, mis respetos, right? I don't want to speak out on something that in reality I don't know the function. So anyways, this was utilized to the point where little by little they started, clipping his crews. Not on the streets, because those from the area, they know, Northern California, it's different. For one, yeah, the Pilis are there, and they could greenlight a neighborhood, but they're not in the neighborhoods like that. Like for example, just to come and dictate what a neighborhood's gonna be selling and doing. They get their share, but at least to this point, it has not gotten there, right? It's more on a respect trip right now, unless they bring whatever they're gonna bring to the table, right? But if just a kick down, it's not. It's nothing like that, right? Like it is down south, and I think it's just the gap of time, right? But I know within time it will blend in. It will become exactly that. For example, right now, just because you're under a Pili in the town, the neighborhoods don't mean they're going to give you the neighborhood, right? Is you just doing exactly that. You know, you're under the pili and you can answer to the pili, but the neighborhood answers to the neighborhoods. Well, at least last I heard, that's how church was being taught right out there. So, anyways, I don't want to lose track. But when the guys underneath, sleepy, were starting to get busted, then it was a problem, right? Then they were getting hit and removed. And again, I was the middleman, right? I was the secretaria. Exactly that, right? I did the appeals and relayed them to where they needed to go, period. But, I was aware of things in the aspect of basically Fonzie played him out of pocket. He utilized that to throw the hunting squad when it came to his own brothers by throwing this young member that in reality, besides his mentor, he didn't have that reach, right? So he knew he could use him as a safety blanket and there wouldn't be too much pushback, right? There ain't too many young members, for example, like Mondo from Orange County that feels he's in that caliber to go against an OG, right? As others. But anyways, this happened and if they saw me after what? We're talking about 97 to 2007 maybe. 10 years of what I've known him putting in work to become one. Just for the greed and to save his butt. He got done wrong and within 6 months of becoming a member, he got politicked and removed. And as always, whoever he had destined to answer to him got the same treatment, right? Him, of what I heard, he got busted and he did what he felt was right? And he checked in. But I know for a fact there's a lot of them that didn't know what was going on, as he did. And he wasn't going to give him the heads up, hey, mi trucha because they're going to hit you. Nah, he just did whatever he did for himself and allow, the pilis to go ahead and whack him and remove him for no reason other than we weren't okay with what the senor you were answering to. It has nothing to do with your loyalty. You're doing of things. None of that. That didn't matter. Then we couldn't trust the pili you were under. You ain't trustworthy either. Even though we trusted that pili to walk amongst us at the same level, right? But it's just the way things work in the system. After this, I got sent a direct appeal from Homeboy and all they stated was, hey, tú que sabes de esto, nada. Bueno, pues así exactamente nada, right? You guys know what they was being told to me, He was aware that by me writing them, I had to see the appeal, right? And again, I didn't have that backbone to, I wasn't nobody to even speak out, right? I was just doing what I was told and keep pushing. But it's just how politics works even amongst them, Again, I know a lot of people get fed up when I use tecato ways. I'll just leave it like this, In a snake world, there can't be no trust, From the moment a pili is real quick to put down his barrio, his movement, and say, all that's dead to me. This comes first and foremost. Since that moment, it should be an eye-opener for those young that get lied to, right, as I did at one point. That from men on, don't expect no loyalty from someone like that. That's a brincacharcos right there, right? Because even though we function under the same thing, when it comes for us to direct something to them, Camponero has no business speaking about M's business. But they decide which camponeros are good or bad, are doing what they were supposed to be doing, and if they're worthy of walking amongst good gente, right? Them yards blew up so big. I really think it had nothing to do with all this extra stuff. People like to always throw that focus somewhere else, you know. For example, making 1,000 excuses why there's different species, or why the definition dropout is only under one avenue. One miss me with that, man. Even when you're in the system, even the carnales, pilis, whatever you want to call them, whenever there's somebody like that on the tier or on the block, they straight get at you on the tier and tell you, nah, homie, that's a DO. But I guess when you have those skeletons in the closet, you gotta try to keep being that snake, right? And try to disguise that word or that action in different colors and scenarios, right? But anyways, sorry, I had something else in mind. You guys know me, I like, to converse with you, and I should do it behind the scenes, right? Cause, I like to partake in none of that. I just seen something that I thought it was funny, right? From an individual that I think he's a joke, man. But anyways, that's not here nor there, at the end of the day, please just be wise, and don't allow yourself to get into something that at one point when you're on the streets is righteous, right? It's where you grew up. It's the people that literally sweat and bleed by your side, that come to your jefita's house, to your grandparents' house. You likewise, someone that in reality, damn, homie, you got a pad, you got this, and actually gets emotional behind his homie having it, getting lied to, going into something where you're just gonna be utilized in every aspect. And it's not even that no more, man. Because excuse how I say it, I'm just gonna say it the way it is. You're gonna get punked. How you never thought or allowed it to be happening to you, your own gente, the ones you call this and that, are gonna do it. And you're not gonna have an option. Cause they got that, you could say, power to have a yard of 300-400 other camaradas. Make sure you do it, right? Take it from somebody that for years was there, right? But anyways, mi gente, I just thought it was funny how the politics work, right? They're always looking for that safety blanket. And when it comes to a camarada, another member, so at the end of the day, the worst thing is, well, I'm just gonna phrase it like this: to trust a snake. If anybody could come on here and tell me you could go pick up a venomous snake out of nowhere, just grab it and trust it enough to grab with your bare hand, or even kiss it, or pretend it's gonna be loyal to you, we all know the outcome, right? That's why I always be smart, stay true to yourself, and loyal to your loved ones. God bless you. Muy buenas noches.